Hello everyone. Welcome back. I'm Boomy, and today we are watching Carnage versus Lucy Marvel versus Elfen by Death Battle. Yes, this one was suggested by Josh Blackwell over here. And yeah, between the two of them, I only know Carnage, and even that, I only know him by name. Well, I do know a couple of things about him. The fact that he is a symbiote and nothing else. I can't even remember from the top of my head who he bonded with. But yeah, I haven't seen the new Venom movie, so I don't really know anything about him, essentially. All the more Lucy, zero idea. I haven't even heard of Elfen before, but from the looks of the thumbnail, she looks like an anime character, and I don't know about you, but some of the anime characters tend to be very overpowered. So let's go ahead and leave this up to Wiz and Boomstick. So remember, if you like my reactions, don't forget to leave a like, let me know your thoughts on the video down in the comment section below, and consider subscribing. Also, don't forget to leave your suggestions of what I should check out next. That being said, let's go ahead and watch the video.
If my ex-wives have taught me anything, it's that there's no real limit to crazy.
Like Carnage, Marvel's dangerously insane psychopath.
Or Lucy, the messed up murder lady from
yeah.
Elfen.
Elfen. It's German.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh, it's
He's
Lied?
Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
I'm sorry,
And
I didn't
it's
know.
our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
Alright, let's go.
Cletus Cassidy didn't have the chance to be a well-adjusted adult because his entire family was already crazy. While Cletus was just a boy, his father got sent to jail for killing his mother.
Which he did because she had tried to kill Cletus.
Which she did
Oh,
because
damn.
Cletus had tortured and killed her dog Fifi.
Well, go Miss Cassidy. All dog murderers deserve death, even if they're 8. Right, Jack Spaniels? Good boy. Oh, and Cletus murdered his grandma too, because she was kind of a bitch.
He didn't
Oh,
stop
damn.
there and wound up burning down his own orphanage. Years later, he was finally arrested and convicted for 11 murders.
You mean
Wow,
the 11
that's a
murders
lot.
they knew about?
But while in prison, Cletus found that he wasn't alone. In fact, his cellmate just so happened to be Eddie Brock.
Oh,
That creepy
okay.
guy covered in black ink called Venom.
That
This is probably
ink
where he
actually
got
a
the
symbiotic alien
symbiote.
known as a Clintar. This symbiote bonded with Eddie, transforming him into a powerful and violent rival for the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
But what Eddie didn't know was it was pregnant. Oh, time to go out for cigarettes. Eddie.
What?
Well, symbiotes actually reproduce asexually. When Eddie became Venom once again, the symbiote sort of oozed out its spawn and left it there.
Just like me and my dad. Well, this new symbiote immediately attached itself to Cletus, but unlike the Venom one, it merged through a cut on his skin, creating this suit made out of blood. Ew,
Oh, damn.
That doesn't seem sanitary.
And together they became Carnage.
So basically, Venom is like Carnage's father? That makes it interesting. I did not know that. I thought he was just a different symbiote.
A fitting name for a psycho mass murderer. Cletus and his new symbiote quickly got up to what they knew best, creating maximum carnage. Remember that game? It was great.
And with his new superpowers, he was a vicious force to be reckoned with. He has the same superhuman strength, speed, and durability as Venom, and supposedly even greater, like a Venom 2.0.
He can shapeshift to make all sorts of killer weapons, like axes, swords, and spikes. He can even rip those weapons off himself or launch them at his victims. Have you ever tried ripping your fingers off and throwing them at people? Because that's just kind of what Carnage does.
The symbiote can also reach out with dozens of chaotic, blood-soaked tendrils, perfect for strangling the people he doesn't want to see anymore. With a single touch, Carnage can infect a person with a portion of his symbiote, controlling or torturing them at his
Oh,
leisure.
damn,
He has
that is
unbelievable
crazy.
regeneration, and even if somebody finds a way to disable his suit, the Carnage symbiote lives inside his bloodstream and can come back out through something as meager as a paper cut.
Also, the symbiote
damn.
literally sees everything around it. It's kind of like wearing a suit made of eyeballs.
But let's say you're able to dodge his projectiles, outrun the tendrils, and get out of sight from the eyeball suit. You're still not safe. He will catch you because he can sprout wings and fly.
What the
Of
hell
course
is
he
his
can.
plan?
Since realizing that shapeshifting is a really useful ability.
So he's able to fly, he's totally aware of everything around him, and he's full of blood? This guy's like a giant mosquito of death.
Sure. Carnage has said he's at least 10 times faster than the average man.
Wait.
That's pretty
Was that
good.
Batman?
Venom has shown he can move fast enough
How?
to catch up to a bullet after it's fired. And Carnage is
Is there a comic somewhere where they crossed over? Huh.
frequently shown to be as fast or even faster than him. This puts Carnage over 1,500 miles per hour, over twice the speed of sound.
He's lifted a 50-ton tank, and he can overpower Spider-Man, whose best supported strength feat was lifting that giant machine thing that weighed as much as a 1965 locomotive.
Which would put it around 130 tons.
And you know those weird tendril things crawling around his body? When he wanted to find a missing journalist in New York, he climbed to the top of the Empire State Building and just stretched them all out over the city.
He found her by this coastline, and this building nearby looks a lot like the consolidated Edison plant between 14th and 15th Street. That's about 2 miles away.
And as a thank you for saving her, she shot Carnage in the head. Well, fine. Save your own ass next time, lady.
He was fine. Carnage's durability doesn't come from a sturdy build. Instead, his form is malleable and somewhat fluid. Technically, his human body still exists somewhere in that mass of blood, flesh, and writhing tentacles, but even when he's hit by a train, struck by missiles, or blasted apart by a tritium bomb, he can always just pull himself back together.
So long as there's a piece of him still
Interesting.
around. Given the size of that blast, it looks like...
How big a piece are we talking about here? Is it like Deadpool, who can regenerate from a drop of blood? So essentially, he can't be killed then.
Carnage survived a blast worth 125 tons of TNT.
Very impressive. Also, he once smothered and survived a gene bomb designed to wipe out all of humanity except mutants.
He's even survived being ripped in half and thrown into space. Seriously, what kills this guy?
Well, he does share the same weaknesses as other symbiotes, namely extremely loud
Sound.
noises and heat.
Yeah.
Well, until he traded the sound one for a weakness against some Cthulhu-looking magic.
Carnage has been through a lot, but with 2 minds as one, he always gets back up to keep doing what he loves.
Murder,
That's
murder,
a cool
and,
panel
you know,
there.
More murder.
Carnage is chaos!
Okay, I did not expect it to sound that squeaky. I thought he had a more like deep voice.
There are some mysteries the world holds which no one is meant to know. Every day, something, somewhere, comes ever closer to destroying everything you hold dear. One such secret is the Dicloni.
No big deal. They're just a race of crazy people who want to infect human beings
Okay.
to make more Dicloni and then wipe out all of humanity.
Ooh,
Oh,
wow,
look at the
this
cute
is
little
brutal.
horns. They look like kitty ears.
To accomplish this, the Dicloni would have to rely on their queen, Carnage, better known as Lucy.
Luckily for everyone, some important people figured this out and captured her. And now it's time for your only warning.
Right, Lucy's methods, let's just say they're not for the faint of heart.
And let's also say that those lucky important people were about
Very
to get
violent.
very,
This looks like a
very
good
lucky.
anime. Oh damn.
Jesus Christ, what's happening?
To truly understand, let's take a step back. As an infant, Lucy was abandoned by her parents and left alone to suffer a life of constant discrimination.
It was the horns, wasn't it?
Right, even the average kid hates growing up in an orphanage, but it was especially painful for her.
Until she found a stray puppy and decided to take care of it. That adorable little critter and her became best friends. And then the other kids from the orphanage went
No.
and beat it to death and forced her to watch.
Oh wow, they did that?
Well, no shit, she wants to kill everyone. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Lucy.
I
Tear
get
up
that.
those little bastards.
Oh shit. Okay, so we have killing animals and killing kids in this show. Elfen lead looks very promising. I might check this out someday.
Oh,
This looks damn good.
damn.
This was the first time Lucy unleashed her psychokinetic vectors. As a Diclonius queen, Lucy is meant to use these vectors to infect ordinary human beings with the Diclonius virus.
Oh, but she uses them for so much more.
For simplicity's
Oh,
sake,
damn.
think of the vectors as invisible arms which can sprout from Lucy's back.
Lucy can use up to 28 vectors with a normal range of about 6 to 7 feet. When she gets really serious, her horns grow and the vectors get way longer and stronger.
She can vibrate her vectors at different frequencies, and each level of vibration has different effects.
Kinda like that thing that my ex-wife had on the nightstand that I thought was one of those crazy pens.
At low frequencies, her vectors can pass through objects with no
dumb.
effect. At a medium frequency, the vectors become solid, like extendable hands, while still completely invisible. These can be used as shields and lift heavy objects.
Oh man.
Oh, yeah,
if
that
I
is
had those things,
overpowered
I'd be messing with
indeed.
People all the time, like tying their shoes from across the room. Also, since this seems to be a thing in this episode, she can fly.
It's not really flying, she's just lifting herself off the ground. With the third frequency, Lucy turns her vectors into invisible blades. These can cut through people
damn.
and bend metal.
And with the last and highest frequency, Lucy gets explosive. No, really, at this level, they finally become visible and can strike with enough force to detonate. Damn, they don't call this chick the queen for nothing.
Unfortunately, Lucy is not always in control of what she does. Turns out she has developed several alternate personalities.
Yeah, getting shot in the head can do that to you.
That injury specifically created New, a passive, almost childlike persona which exists as a coping mechanism for Lucy's trauma. As New,
Okay.
Lucy would
Oh,
finally
she
find
pissed
friends
herself.
and began forging a path toward hopeless redemption.
Unlike her third personality, the so-called DNA voice, which constantly whispers in her ear that she's got a job to do. Kill them all, Lucy, before they hurt more puppies.
She could do it too. Lucy's fast enough to block bullets from a point-blank range. And once, she actually saved herself from a bullet after she had already been shot. As in, while the bullet was traveling between her skin and her heart.
It looks like she's getting shot by
Damn.
MP5, which fires bullets at nearly 900 miles per hour.
With her body type, the distance between Lucy's skin and heart is less than an inch, probably around 2.4 centimeters. Given the bullet speed and the distance her vector would have to reach from her back before the bullet hit her heart, her vector had to move nearly 1,900 miles per hour. That's over
Ooh.
twice the speed of sound.
She can throw a
Almost
through a guy's
as fast
skull.
as
Brutal.
Carnage.
And even tossed this giant boulder.
When compared to this guy, Bando, whom we know is 6 feet tall, we can determine the boulder weighs about 75 tons. Her vectors are also tough enough to block a missile from the Air Force. While the exact model of missile is unspecified, it is fairly large and likely an air-to-surface type.
I bet it's one of the Air Force's SLAMs, or Standoff Land Attack Missile, built off the back of the Navy's Harpoon missile. In fact, a Harpoon is used against a different Diclonius at one point. So this piece slammed into her vector at 500 miles per hour with a 1,000-pound explosive yield, and it didn't even phase her. Even without a vector shield, she survived a pretty nasty explosion herself, though it did knock her out.
Impressive, but how about the time she punched through an island? A strike literally compared to nuclear fusion. This kicked up a 100-foot tidal wave and a 9.2 magnitude earthquake.
Oh,
A level
wow,
so
yeah,
high, there's only been 4
that's a
terrible
good
quakes
feat.
ever recorded.
Her vectors can be as wide as buildings and reach into outer space, except that's about when Lucy reaches her limit.
Right. As a Diclonius, Lucy has a few severe weaknesses. Her vectors can be nullified if she's struck in the forehead, or if one of her horns are broken.
Also, if Lucy pushes herself too hard, she starts to melt. Kinda like ice cream out in the Texas sun. It's not pretty. She's just
Can
a
she
big
regenerate?
pile of goop with a face, but she's still a total badass, even at her meltiest.
While suffering
Meltiest.
agonizing pain, she was capable of single-handedly halting a massive military threat, while healing and protecting the person she loved most. Perhaps redemption wasn't so hopeless after all.
Ah, the
Hey,
power
let's
of
go Kill
love.
some more people.
Ooh, so graphic. I love it.
All right, the combatants
All
are
right.
set. Let's end this debate once and for all.
Okay, so I am putting my trust in Lucy here, because the feats. Well, I'm not sure they didn't mention any healing feats for her. It's just that she can stop projectiles really fast. So yeah, I am gonna put my faith in Lucy and say that she will win. So let's go ahead and see what happens.
But first, you'd be crazy not to get in on this deal.
Skipping this.
Now,
Oh, okay, come back.
at
Alright, let's go. Let's go, Lucy. Win this for us. Okay, train. Train for weight scaling, of course.
Die.
No, it won't be that easy. Why can't I hit you? Oh, she's on the offensive now. And Venom is just taking the hits. Oof. Still not touching her though. Oh, some are getting through. Ooh, what are what are the hands doing to her? To him, I mean.
Get back.
Vibration, yeah. Ooh, okay. I think I'm getting it. Since the hands work like vibrations, is she gonna vibrate him to death? Because sound waves are vibrations, essentially. That would be interesting.
Does it hurt yet? Don't worry. I'll put
Ooh.
you out of your misery.
Oh, okay. She didn't vibrate him to death. She just punched him to death. Is it it? Is it done? Oh, wow.
first those kids at the orphanage, then Cletus. Lucy really hates dog killers. And
It must be the one that they mentioned where it's like fusion energy. That must be it, right?
for good reason.
Carnage was a challenging opponent. It was incredibly difficult for Lucy to deal any lasting damage against him.
He had the durability advantage in the bag, though Lucy fighting as a puddle proved she could take a lot of pain and keep on fighting. Sadly, Carnage came up short in pretty much everything else.
Right, Carnage was tough, but not invincible. Even his surviving that gene bomb isn't quite as impressive as it sounds, since he had no other feats to even remotely back up planetary level durability, and the bomb was more akin to a biological weapon anyway. While Carnage's tendrils could pass speeds of Mach 2, Lucy's vectors once reached into outer space. By timing her accompanying monologue and comparing the longest vector's length to the curvature of the Earth, it's clear she reached over 2,400 miles in
Ooh,
20
that is
seconds max.
far
Way
and
longer
fast.
than Carnage's 2-mile feet.
All this means her vectors were moving at least 440,000 miles per hour.
That
More
is
than
fast.
500 times the speed of sound and 250 times faster than Carnage.
Good luck getting past that. And this was really the biggest hurdle. With Lucy's redonkulous speed and Carnage's healing powers, it all boiled down to one thing. Who could hit the killing blow first? I mean, Carnage could respawn from scraps, so the only way to beat him for good was to totally vaporize him.
And
Yeah.
Lucy had the perfect answer to that. Remember that time she hit an island so hard she caused a 9.2 magnitude earthquake and a 100-foot tall tidal wave? Such a feat would require an enormous amount of explosive energy, approximately 31,000 tons of TNT, similar
That's
to
a
the
lot.
one that hit Hiroshima.
It's literally compared to nuclear
Yeah,
fusion
nuclear
in the
fusion.
Elfen Lied manga.
Elfen lead, it's German.
The point is, in order to beat Carnage for good, Lucy needed to totally obliterate him, and she could do that.
The heat produced within the initial impact of a nuclear explosion can reach temperatures up to 180,000 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yep, that's
more than
enough to-
18 times hotter than the
to
surface
burn
of the
him.
sun. And to top it off, heat was Carnage's biggest weakness. Even if Lucy's explosive force was just a fraction of this, it would still have been far too much for him.
She just needed to smack him before he could power through her vectors, which chances were pretty slim for that happening anyway, because there's a bunch of them and they're so damn fast. Hitting Carnage with a big explosion punch was way easier.
Cletus and his symbiote may have had the endurance, but Lucy's space-worthy speed, overwhelming presence, and nuclear strength won the day.
She dealt the carnage needed for a total victory and
Vic-
took the lead. There, I said it right, Wiz. Happy?
The winner is Lucy.
That was a good set of puns there.
Thanks for watching, and if you
Yeah, that was really good. The anime Elfen Lied seems like the type of show that I would watch. It looked very interesting and very brutal, which is more fun times for me, I guess. I wonder how the actual story is, though. If someone of you has already seen that, do let me know if the story is legitimately good, or is the action just pulling the story along. So yeah, I really didn't know which one was gonna win. My main reason why I chose Lucy, probably my anime bias over comics, but yeah. Really good video overall. But that's gonna be it for me today, guys. Link to my Twitter is down in the description below. Gotta check it out if you want to. And if you're new here and enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like. Let me know your thoughts on the video down in the comment section below, and consider subscribing. We are trying to get up to 1,000 subs this year, so hopefully you guys can help me out with that. Also, don't forget to leave your suggestions on what I should check out next. That being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!